Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Axus Draws, I guess. I have no idea if all the thumbnails are gonna have my Miitomo character on there, but let's roll with it for now. Anyways, I'm super excited to share this drawing challenge I came up with you, and I hope people will find this fun and interesting and, I guess, inspiring. I'm sure someone else has had this idea before, but well. Let's just dive right in. So, there are so many times where I'm sitting somewhere staring into space at some, patterned objects, bathroom tiles, swirls in carpets, cracks in walls, and in my particular case, my marbled kitchen counter, and sometimes I see not only basic shapes here and there, but I see characters. I'm sure that's happened to a lot of people too, right? I'd never had the idea of trying to actually draw them, so I grabbed this bolt of inspiration and tried to do something with it. Let's just stare at this marble pattern for a second. What do you see? I'm sure it's really different from what I ended up seeing, and now that I look at it again, I'm seeing a ton of new characters in different places. Well, let's jump into what I saw in this particular pattern. If you want to get started and don't immediately have the opportunity to look for some patterns, I can leave a download link for you below to use this one if you'd like, or you can Google some patterns too. Ah, crap, one more thing before we get started. So I wanted to lay some ground rules that you won't feel restricted by these rules. So when you grab your pattern, you just kind of, you can do a basic outline of whatever shape you're seeing. But after that, it's free game. It's really just here to give you an idea. You can render it however you want. If you're more comfortable painting, then by all means do that. In this particular drawing, I went with a line art approach. But yeah, you can do whatever the heck you want after this. It's really just here to give you a little inspiration and a little bit of a shape guideline. So there you go. All right. Okay, so full disclosure, that part before was totally scripted. I'm sure you could tell by the way I was talking, like a person that was talking off a script. So, now I don't have anything planned because it's quite a lengthy video of me just drawing for a while, so I kind of had some topics I wanted to cover, and we'll just kind of meander through them as you start watching me draw that thing. Yeah, so I don't know if you happen to see the same face that I did, but I totally saw this girl with an eye patch and a bunch of hair branching out. But as I was reviewing the episode and looking at it again, on the bottom, I was thinking of maybe drawing it to show you guys. I thought it would have been kind of funny. Maybe I'll do it later. But on the bottom, I saw a tiger head on the left. I'm already drawing over it here. But on the bottom right, I saw this weird alien baby with huge eyelashes, and it's kind of scary. Yeah, maybe I'll draw it later. But yeah, so I was really excited when I thought of this idea. I'm sure, again, someone else has come up with it before, but I just felt like the fun of it is that everyone will see something different in the same set of shapes, and there are so many possibilities. Everyone's idea is really unique. When I was coming up with this, I handed a different picture. I actually have 2 other pictures I want to work on. I'm not sure if I'll go through with them, but I did see some characters and some other sets of marble as well. But I showed one of them to my boyfriend, and he saw something completely different than I did. I think I saw a cat with a hat or something like that, and then he ended up seeing this freaky alien in the top left somewhere I wasn't even looking. So that was the moment I was this is so cool. People are gonna have so many different ideas, and yeah, anyways, I'm just really excited about this. I don't know if anyone else is gonna be but I hope someone will try this out, and I would love it if you guys showed me your drawings. You can talk to me and Paper on Twitter, and it'll be super cool. Anyways, so yeah, I learned a lot with this particular drawing. I haven't been drawing much lately, which is really bad. It's kind of been a perpetual thing for a while, but with each drawing that I managed to push myself to do, I want to try to learn something new or try to teach myself something different. So this drawing right here is completely different from anything I would ever draw, mostly because, I just kind of outlined what I saw and just started trying to refine it. So it's completely different than anything I would ever think of, which is also part of the fun of it. It's it makes you see or come up with things that you probably wouldn't normally have thought of. So that's pretty interesting in its own right, I guess. So this drawing right here looks way more cartoony. So I don't normally draw things like that. So I was okay, how do I go about how the line thickness works or how any of the anatomy works? I don't even know. I'm not even good at anatomy. There's gonna be a lot of self-deprecation in this video, and I know there's that thing about artists and how they're all really self-deprecating and they all think their artwork sucks. And yes, it's true for the most part. Not that the artwork sucks, but that they think it sucks. It's true for the most part that most artists think their artwork sucks. That's what I meant to say. But it's okay. It's like we're being hard on ourselves because we want to improve, and like for maybe there's some people out there who aren't that good and they think they're super amazing and they might not want to improve. So it's a necessary evil. Okay, you don't understand. Completely got off topic there. But yeah, so it helped me to learn a lot of things that I need to improve on. I'm really not good at anatomy. I've done a lot of drawings before where I kind of just fudge my way through it and hope it looks okay, and I need to get better at it. And something I noticed with people's line work who I really like how their lines look, something about it is just so flowy and nice. They're very good at changing the thickness of their line art, and I always kind of, even though, you know, I have pen pressure turned on everything, but like my line art kind of always looks consistently like one thickness, really. It's not very varied. The line weight is the term I was looking for, the line weight. Yeah, it doesn't change much, and I feel like that kind of gives my drawings particularly a more static look. So I wanted to try and experiment and, like, you know, make some areas a little thicker. I don't know where I'm supposed to do it, but I just kind of did it willy-nilly for fun because maybe that's kind of cool to try. And this is something that I thought about back during my internship a while ago at this like manga publishing company. They weren't like a official Japanese manga publishing company, but they were, how do I explain? They did manga for an American audience to like teach them about the culture of Japan, basically. It was fun. It was really cool. It was a big coincidence because when I was like a tiny 13-year-old and I was like super weeaboo, I probably still am now, but I had this manga book that was like, what was it titled? It was like, a bunch of different like anime expressions with Japanese, I don't remember. It had really cute anime drawings, and it would tell you what their emotion was in Japanese. Like it would tell you what it was, what the name of it was, and like in a sentence, I think. And it was very colorful, very cute. And yeah, years later, I happened to enter an internship at that particular place during my stay in Japan, my study abroad. It was just kind of the biggest coincidence. It was the most random thing, but it was really fun. Anyways, while I was there, they have this drawing program that I think it's intended for younger people or maybe just completely new artists. You know, no matter what age, but it's intended for beginners to try and learn how to draw manga, I guess. Like not like particularly, you know, the full comic panels and everything, but just getting to start drawing in like an anime style. And they have this whole program, and they had me type up some critiques for some of the drawings. So yeah, they would send in their drawing, and I would just type in some pointers, and you know, they would look it over and add in whatever they needed to. And it was fun, and I wasn't the best at drawing at the time, but I always come back to the same question of like, do you have to be super good at a craft yourself before you can critique it? See, that's a really tricky question because yeah, you have to have a basic understanding of how things are for sure, but do you need to like make that yourself, or you can just have a good understanding of it? Like it's hard, you know, with movie critics. Like, have you ever made a movie in your life? Like, do you know how hard that is? Why you guys say all this mean crud about my movie I worked really hard on? You know, it's like, it's tough. It's the same with like drawing. Say someone who's not very good at drawing, they're saying all kinds of stuff about your drawing, but maybe they have some really good points. It's not, I think people can come to have really good understandings of certain crafts and concepts without needing to be particularly good at them themselves, I guess is the point I was trying to come to. But anyways, oh my god, my thought process is all over the place because that's how it always is when I'm not on a script. Where was I going with this? Okay, right. I wanted to get into some other observations I made while I was doing those critiques. So, a lot of people wanted to do more exaggerated and stylized styles because, you know, they admired a lot of the anime and manga that they read, and they all have like really dynamic and interesting and, you know, different exaggerated styles. So they wanted to try and emulate it because that's where their inspiration came from. That's where they wanted to get started. But I always wanted to try to stress the importance of learning, you know, actual like realistic human anatomy first to have a good understanding of the basics of how it is in real life before you learn how to exaggerate it. I still need to brush up personally on my anatomy as well, in both in terms of like stylized and realistic. I should be following my own advice. So that was just kind of one thing that came up that I kept in mind. And, I've been really out of practice. I'm gonna hop off that topic real quick. I've been trying to like discover my own style. I might have mentioned that in the other video, but I've been really lost for a while. Like I did a whole burst of like semi-realistic illustrations that I was pretty proud of. This must have been already like 2 or 3 years ago now. It's been so long since I've done like a proper illustration in my book. And it's been very frustrating, and I've just lost all steam for some reason. I've still been drawing, but they've been kind of small things that are very simply lined, I guess. Nothing like a full-blown illustration, and I've been struggling to find my style. I've forgotten how to paint in a semi-realistic style. I've tried to reignite that, but it just ends up being time-consuming and looks like crap, and I just can't grasp what it was. And that reminds me of this picture I saw on Twitter that I related to so much. I think it was like, I forget how many years apart, but it was like a couple years in the past version of yourself and the current version of yourself. And the current version was like threatening the past version with a knife and going like, how did you draw this? And I was like, oh my god, that is so me right now. I want to like threaten my past self and ask her how she drew some of these drawings back then, because some of them were like really good and I don't remember at all how to draw like that. And in this past year, while I've been struggling to recapture that semi-realistic full illustration stuff, I have been experimenting a lot with other types of things. I've been trying to branch out. For a while, I avoided line art like the plague. I'm still not the best at it, as you can see. I am struggling with hands right now. I suck at hands. Full disclosure, I suck at drawing. I suck at anatomy. I suck at hands. I'm just gonna throw that out there, okay? I know. But anyways, getting back on topic. So I started to pick up line art more recently because it was almost out of a necessity. So me and PAPR, we mentioned this a lot, but we run an Etsy and we bring our products that we make to any conventions that we can get into, any local conventions. And my first couple years really sucked. I had no idea what sold. I didn't have any sense of like what was popular, and unfortunately I don't like to draw what's popular, so that sucks for me anyway. But I started off with just a couple of my semi-realistic prints, and they didn't sell. And I noticed that my partner and like a lot of other tables, a lot of people loved the small stuff. And well, if they love the prints, it's probably because they're super technically good artists and all that stuff. Maybe my style just didn't appeal. That's fine. But what really sold for some people was the small stuff. And that included like, a lot of the buttons and keychains and lanyards, just smaller items. And for the most part, those things had like line art and like simple and clean styles. Simple and clean is the way that you sell in my stuff tonight. That was really good. Yeah, so I was like, all right, I gotta buck up and I gotta get into this, and learning to do more simple things was really good for making products. Like it's just ideal for that. I know a lot of people can find all sorts of creative workarounds, but for small things that might not show a lot of detail because they're so small, you gotta learn to simplify things to make it look good. And that was really tough for me, for someone again who had avoided line art and like cell shading and things like the plague for the longest time. It's been good. It's been good to try and learn these things. I've, made a lot of little buttons, and, I've made a lanyard. I've tried to make a shirt, and, all of that doesn't work super well with semi-realistic painting, I think. So it's been a good lesson. So I guess I can't say that I've like wasted these past years. I have learned something new. I have learned something useful. I just do really miss making painted illustrations. I feel like I wish I didn't have to lose one in order to gain the other. I know a lot of people are really skilled at both, but that's just seems to be the situation with me. I can't seem to be grasping both at the same time. I feel like I have to dedicate a lot of time to either one, and, you know, my brain maybe just doesn't have enough room. So it's kind of sucked, but I'm gonna try. You know, everyone's making all these New Year's resolutions. Everyone's determined to be more productive, to do more new things in the new year, and I want to be right there along with them. And I think this little challenge right here on screen is, you know, it's a good way to push me to do something. It puts an idea in my head already, like I don't have to come up with it, or well, I kind of am, but you know what I mean. I see some sort of inspiration, and I can just go ahead and do it. I have trouble just forcing myself to get started drawing. Like I'm lazy, and it's so bad. I need to get myself to draw. Guys, yell at me to draw. Draw with me. Quick interjection before I go on. Things I'm cringing about while talking over this past video footage. Yeah, that's not how you hold the sword, and that's a really weird way to hold a sword, and the hand doesn't look good. But that's the angle I saw the hand at in the pattern, and that's the angle I saw the sword at. So I just kind of made do, but maybe she's picking it up weirdly off the ground to give to somebody. I don't know. I'll do better next time, okay? That's one thing. I had this like horrifying fear that would grasp me in the past, that if I couldn't make something look good enough to like present to somebody, I wouldn't want to even draw it in the first place or finish it or anything. And I just had this gripping fear, and it was really horrible. And I because of that, I was so static for so long. What's the word I'm looking for? Stagnant, maybe, in terms of, yeah, my drawing inspiration. I just wouldn't want to draw. And something that I kind of learned through various things over the years is that there is perfection in imperfection. And that is a phrase I've been, you know, repeating in my head. But I mean this in that I started observing even deeper some of the artists that I really admire, and they would have all these imperfect lines in their drawings, and it would look really good and really beautiful and stylistic and awesome. So like specifically their line art would have a bunch of like weird, you know, weird widths inconsistent with each other throughout, and there might have been some like, you know, scribbles on the side that they didn't erase. But it was like, it seemed very purposeful and very cool. Some of their lines might be squiggly. The anatomy might be completely off or weird or wonky, but it would look really cool. I can't explain it, but I started realizing that not everything had to look really perfect. Not everything had to be completely clean, which kind of contradicts what I was saying earlier in terms of trying to learn a clean and simple style. But I wanted to try and grasp different things in different people's styles and learn all these kinds of lessons, you know. And, oh, like, speaking of, you know, I would call these, like, ugly drawings, but not really. So I have this, like, sketchbook right next to me here. Let's take a look. So I'm sure you've seen this sort of illustration style in a lot of things around you. But on here, it's just a bunch of drawings of drawing tools. So there's, like, number 2 pencils, lead pencils, what the heck? Oh, there's paper clips and ink wells and ink pens, paint tubes, all kinds of stuff. And there's just a bunch of those drawn onto here. But it's all like really squiggly and like completely off and like bent in funny ways and like different line widths and that are not consistent at all, and it's just like all over the place, but it looks really good. And I was like, how do you make ugly lines look good like that? And I even have this other sticker on here that I bought from this Japanese store when I was in the Japans, and they're called B-Side Label. And I have this sticker here of this bear inside like a luggage case, and it's got a bunch of like assortment of items in there, but it's all like ugly squiggly lines, but it looks really good. You guys teach me, how do I make that look good? But yeah, it just helped me to see that I don't have to be afraid. I don't have to be afraid to make some ugly lines. I don't have to be afraid to like start drawing at all. There are so many different approaches, and who cares if it doesn't look perfect, or congrats to me if I happen to make it actually look clean for once, you know? All kinds of drawings, I shouldn't be afraid to give them all a try. Yeah, so I guess the point I maybe might be trying to make is that don't be afraid to get into something new or something unknown or something kind of daunting just because you haven't tried it before. Try it, and if you fail at it, that's fine. You're learning something. If you consider it a failure, you can just finish it off and move on. Yeah, you learned something new from it, you tried something different, and that's awesome. You know, you'll keep growing from each experience, and these videos, even though I've only posted 2 so far, have kind of been helping me a little bit in that I have like huge anxiety when it comes to showing anyone my drawing process, I guess. Yeah. Because I know I'm not very technically skilled, so I make a lot of mistakes and I draw things weird, and I just had huge anxiety. And the idea of like streaming, you know, has come to my mind once or twice in the past before, but I was like, no, I can't do it. Like, I don't know how people do it. They're well practiced and they're confident in what they're doing, so they're not afraid to show all their sketches and like paintings and all that stuff in between. But I'm not very good, so I had like a lot of anxiety. But slowly, I'm just trying to put some stuff out there, not only because it helps me and that it helps keep me focused. When I have like it recording, you know, I stay focused. I'm like, oh my god, somebody's watching this, except, you know, not live, but yeah, so it makes me work a lot faster, and I try to, you know, be more determined with my line work, but hopefully it can help you guys, not in that like, ooh, teaches you how to draw. Obviously, that's not my intent here, but maybe with this particular one, it can help inspire you, you know, in terms of the challenge, and maybe with some of my other ones, you can just chill with me, have someone to draw with. And there it is. Thank you for sitting through this and chilling, and I hope that you can take on this challenge for yourself. And I hope that when you do, it's really fun and you should show me. And yeah, here's my process and everything. Can you guys see the shape now that I put it up side by side like that? The steps look really funny. And yeah, so here it is finished, and I might color it in a future one. I haven't colored in a while, and I don't really know how to cell shade, really, and maybe I want to try a painterly thing, because I've seen a lot of people do really cool stuff with like line art and then painterly coloring, so I've never tried that before, but we'll see. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this was a cool idea, and hey, here's an extra thing. You should share the same pattern amongst you and your friends, and all come up with a drawing and not show each other until the end. That sounds pretty fun. All right, I'll see you next time. This is Axus, over and out.